eBay Motors and Fox Racing welcome you to episode 64 of The Lowdown Show. I'm Neil Graham. This week I speak to Caius Tenche, who runs the TMFF, the Toronto Motorcycle Film Festival. If you don't live in Toronto or one of the Canadian cities that the traveling festival goes to, fear not. Many of the films are available online, and Caius will give us the lowdown on films not to be missed. But before we take the leap, a word from those who make the lowdown possible. Picture this, you're halfway through a DIY motorcycle fix, tools scattered everywhere, and boom, you realize you're missing a part. Well, it's okay because, whatever it is, it's on eBay. They've got everything, brake rotors, lights, and tire exhaust systems, whatever you need. And it's guaranteed to fit, which means no more crossing your fingers and hoping you ordered the right thing. All the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. In over 50 years of connecting riders to dirt, Fox Racing has learned that the best gear always has a discernible purpose and a strong point of view. The Ranger, Defend, and Recon Adventure collection takes a minimalist approach to product design with a clear mission of providing everything you need in adventure-ready gear and absolutely nothing you don't need. Minimalist chassis, fully seam-sealed with Gore-Tex waterproofing and D30 CE level protection across the board. This gear is every bit as pure as the adventure you're chasing. Why a film festival that caters to motorcycles? Tell me where that came from.
Sure. Well, it started when I, for whatever reason, like a light switch, decided that I want to start riding motorcycles. And it was middle of winter. And the only thing I could do pretty much was go online. And so I started searching for anything to learn about motorcycling and to learn, what the experience is like, to learn about how to decide what kind of a bike to get. I started from ground zero. And so found quite a lot of content online on YouTube. And once I got past the videos of riders that just had like GoPro cameras strapped to their helmet or their bikes.
It's a thing, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good stuff. Like some of it is really great. But once I got past that, I found some short films that were put together, specifically this one by Cam Elkins in Australia. It was the series called Stories of Bike, which had like beautiful bikes, beautiful scenery, but it really wasn't about the motorcycle. It was about the person and the stories. And they were they were cinematic, very different from the vlog styles, beautiful stories. And that just like sucked me right into it. And so then I started searching for more and more of that type of content. And then I stumbled across the fact that there's such a thing as a motorcycle film festival. And I thought, wow, okay, I have to go to this. I was so already into it. And but there wasn't one in Toronto where I'm from. So that sort of was disappointing, but it like sat there in the back of my head. And it took about 3 years. Like I couldn't escape this thing of wanting to go to a motorcycle film festival. I've been to other festivals in the past, like film festivals. So I know what the vibe was like. And just the idea of being like in this room with other people, that share this passion, I thought would be a ton of fun. So 3 years later, I had the opportunity to like pursue some passion projects, and I thought I'm just going to do this, and started thinking about what are the different steps to get from zero to having an event, and just started ticking off things off the checklist and put it together. That was it, and here we are 9 years later.
Why a film festival? As you said, much of what you found was online initially. What is the watch it in? I have my own theory on this, but of course I'm interviewing you, so I'm interested in yours. What's the difference between watching something online and watching it in a room full of people?
Oh, there's a huge difference. Huge difference. First of all, let's start with the most obvious, which is a giant screen. So you're seeing the movie sometimes in the way that it was designed to be seen. It's bigger, it's wider, it feels a greater field of view, the sound. So visually it's more immersive. Auditorially, it's more immersive because the sound is bigger. But there is something magical that happens when you're in a room with a whole bunch of people experiencing the same thing at the same time. You're laughing at the same time. You're, gasping at the same time. There's something magical about that, whether it's a movie or a concert, anything that is shared. Now imagine that, and adding to it the fact that you all have this common shared interest, motorcycling. It just, you can relate to what you're seeing on the screen. It means something to you. Um, I don't know. It seemed at the time for me something that would just be a lot of fun to experience with other people. And it is.
So take me back to that. So this fall will be fall 2025 will be your 9th annual, correct?
That's right.
And so take me back to that first one. Did your friends think you were nuts, and why are you doing this? And is this a midlife crisis? Because you didn't come to motorcycling as a young man. You were some middle-aged, and
yeah.
And so did friends look at you and go, maybe you should talk to somebody, or how did that work out?
So other than one other person in my friend group, there's no other riders. So just one person in my group rode a motorcycle.
Well, you've got the wrong friends, my friend. I mean, this is the problem here.
I've expanded that group since I started this, for sure.
I hope you don't talk to the old friends anymore, because you got to cut them out. Cut them out.
Well, they're all supportive. They come out to the events every year. I do have more motorcycling friends than non-motorcycling friends.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah. But so first of all, like, my wife was super supportive. Thank God, for, letting me do this and pursuing whatever passion I have. And but going back, I didn't know, other than this one person, I didn't know anyone else in the motorcycle community in Toronto. But I started, like, by going online, I discovered who some of the key people are that, show up to different events, and you see them post online a lot. So I started just reaching out to them to say, I have this idea and I want to do this. What do you think about it? So I did that with about like 4 or 5 different people to get sort of their feedback on it. And they were all supportive and thought, hey, this is a great idea. Of course, they didn't know me. I was new to the community, and I'm sure they had, some reservations at the back of their mind, like, who's this guy, and why is he doing this, and what is he going to do it? What's he doing, and how's it going to be? But I was pretty confident that I could pull this off and make it a good event. I was going to do everything it took to make it a great event. And yeah, I just move forward one step at a time. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I hope so.
Well, I was accusing you of having a midlife crisis.
Well, yeah, probably true. But I have this habit. My wife's not here, otherwise she would confirm it, that I get these like new passion projects, on this like semi-regular cycle, and then I pursue them and I go like full tilt, 100%. Nothing's like in between. It's either 0 or 100. And so this is one of those, but no other project that I've undertaken has lasted this long. So that's, I think, a pretty good sign.
Well, it struck me, Caius, when you were talking, that you sort of had, you almost need the enthusiasm of a new rider. Because I think when you develop, when you discover something and everything is new and everything is interesting, there's this kind of energy you get from it. And for a lot of us, for me, I was, 16, and so it's kind of, I envy you in a way that you get to do it as an adult. You get to develop, something new. And for me, I started playing guitar, and all of a sudden there's this world that you kind of knew was there, but you really embrace it once it gets in your blood, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When I started to do this, and like I devoted a good number of months to put this together, this sounds corny, but it's true. I couldn't wait to get up in the morning and start working on this project. Like, it was just, there was a ton of learning involved, ton of research, ton of planning, but it was so exciting. And yeah, thank goodness for that, because you're right. If you don't have that enthusiasm and that energy, it's a slog. It's a lot of work. And if you think about all the stuff that you got to do, it can put you off. Like it's too much. So you have to have that passion.
Yes, like many things in life, film festivals could be too much. I know it from a filmmaker perspective. I make documentary films unrelated to motorcycling, but festivals can be pretty amazing. Although you see, and you can, it's easy to tell that behind the scenes there's an incredible amount of work going on. Take me back to that first one. I mean, when the theater started to fill up. I mean, of course, you mandated that your friends and your family had to go. I get that. We all do that. But beyond that, I mean, what was it like? I mean, when the theater started to fill, that must have been a great sensation just to finally come to fruition.
Yeah, it's true. It was amazing. So I was wrapped up in the moment, obviously, and I was, my adrenaline was quite up. And it was amazing to see people coming in, taking a seat, and I was excited to finally, pull the curtains and show these movies on screen that people haven't seen before. So that was exciting. For me, though, the awesome part was I remember like going to the front while the movie was playing and sitting down and just looking back at the audience, and you can see them sort of like the world around them disappeared and they were sucked into the story. That was awesome. Like, it was a really great feeling. And it still drives me to this day. One of the reasons why I continue to do this is because of that feedback that you get from the audience, either verbally where they say, hey, that was awesome, but more like visually when you see them, react to the stories or react to the filmmakers when we have them on site, engage with them. It was great.
The Lowdown Show is presented by adbrider.com and supported by ebaymotors.com. Has the nature of the films that you get, that people submit, has it changed over the years? I mean, in this 9 years, has there been is there a language of motorcycle filmmaking per se? What have you seen because you watch a lot, obviously anything that's submitted you watch. Has it changed?
It does change year to year. Like, production value has increased by quite a bit. We're seeing a lot more like shorter content than longer content. Maybe that's just like how the world is nowadays, producing shorter,
the societal imperative. We can't.
Yeah. And I think also because filmmakers, they do have a hard time getting the funding to put some of these stories together. So they often rely on brands, motorcycle brands, to fund their projects. So a lot of the content that we're seeing more of is content that's been funded by manufacturers or clothing apparel manufacturers, and they're not like overtly branded. You can see that maybe they're wearing the same gear from Climb or something throughout the story, but it's still a great story to be shared. So it does change. It has changed in that way, but for the most part, it's still the same. It's all about great stories that connect with people.
Give me an example, maybe of a couple of films, maybe from your most recent festival, perhaps. And I must say that what's your URL? What's your web address again?
It's motorcyclefilmfest.com.
And on your website, there are films that you can watch right there. Can you give us an example of a couple of projects that maybe to start people off if they're interested in watching something?
Yeah. So one of my most recent favorites is this short film called Motorcycle Mary, which is about this lady. Her name is Mary McGee. She unfortunately just passed away in November, I think, if I remember correctly, of last year. And so she's an elder lady and was one of the first women to race motorcycles in the USA. And the whole short story is basically her sitting down like how I am with you, telling her story about how she got started and, her career. And it's got clips from the past in it. But she is so engaging. She's such a character. Like, she's one of the scenes in the movie, she's got this AMA Hall of Fame ring. So she takes it off and there's an inscription on the inside. And I don't remember the exact words, but it's something like drinks gas, kicks ass, or something like that. So you're hearing like this 80-year-old woman saying that. And she's just amazing. Like, I wish I could have met her in real life and given her a big hug, because she was so, like, her energy and enthusiasm, her positivity was so infectious. Anyway, so it's a great movie.
And that's on the site. We can watch it on the site.
Yeah, it's free.
Nice.
Free to watch, and I recommend it. Like, there's no way you're gonna not enjoy that movie, for sure.
Now, what about, sorry to jump in here, but what about, because we are ADV rider, and of course there's a lot of explorers and would-be explorers and people that explore Starbucks listening to this. I presume that travel films and adventure films are a fairly big part of it as well.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And we've had some great ones in that nature as well. Most of them are long format, so they're like full feature length films if they're traveling around the world. Lots that jump to mind around that. A group of university graduates in Germany who bought Ural sidecars and decided to ride them around the world. It's called 972 Breakdowns. You can imagine why. So as they travel around the world, these things are just breaking down constantly, and it's about them, overcoming that. And there's, bridges that they have to cross and muddy terrain, and it's insanity, and it's hilarious because
it's all on with Ural sidecar rigs.
All with Ural sidecar.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not the best bike to choose for that kind of a trip, but the best bike to choose if you want a story.
if you want to make more thing. I mean, it's so true in life. The more things go south, the more interesting the story.
Yeah,
is.
That's where the good stuff is. You know. So there's that one. Then there was this other one where we've got this group of riders, ex-Army vets, who've got motorcycles that they ride from top of North America. I don't remember exactly where in Alaska, but up there, and they rode it down to the bottom of South America, to Ushuaia. And but the meat of the story, so it starts with them, in -20, -30 degree winter weather, and there's a little bit on that, and then it skips forward through most of North America, which is less interesting, until they get to the Darien Gap. If you're not familiar with the Darien Gap, it's this jungle that sits just between Panama and Colombia. There's no roads. It's a really dangerous area. There's, drug smuggling happening there. There's kidnappings happening there, killings happening there. It's lawless. And it's really rough terrain. Like I said, no roads. So they decide to take their bikes through the Darien Gap. They try to ride it, which doesn't really work out. But they have to heave their bikes up, 45-degree muddy roads with ropes. They gotta pull them across rivers. It's insane. So most of the film centers around them crossing this Darien Gap.
And what's the name of the film again, Caius?
Yeah. I am horrible at remembering names.
You are the festival. The festival director, if I'm not mistaken.
I know, but I'm horrible at remembering names. I really bad at it. It's called When the Road Ends, or Where the Road Ends. We have two films, or had two films, all about crossing the Darien Gap. One of them is called When the Road Ends, and the other one's called Where the Road Ends. And I always get the two mixed up.
Okay, you're forgiven. You're forgiven.
Thank you.
And,
The other
but,
one,
but it's
the
on
other
your.
one,
These are all on your site, correct?
that one is about the Darien Gap,
Right, okay, perfect.
the Army vets. Yes.
Yes.
The other one, I'm not on my website yet, but is about this guy who crosses the Darien Gap by building a raft that he puts his BMW GS on, and he uses the motor to power impeller to, cross via ocean between
Wow.
Panama and Colombia. He gets lost at sea for a long time, just him. It's like it's amazing. It's like a
Oh
castaway,
man.
sort of.
You lost at sea in your motorcycle. I mean, that sounds more like a
Right?
metaphor for a crisis of some sort, not an
Yeah.
actual physical possibility, is it?
Yeah, but it's amazing. It's so engaging, the story. Just him in his underwear on this raft.
And so he's
Stuck
filming
on it.
himself as he's going to hell.
Yeah.
A wet hell.
He makes it, obviously, but he had a couple of close calls, and he's out there by himself for a long time.
Let's take a short break for a few words from our sponsors. Picture this. You're in the garage, your favorite room in the house, and you're tuning up your engine with parts that you found on eBay. Every piece is just locking perfectly into place. You step back to admire your work, hands covered in grease. And because you're committed to riding that thing farther than the odometer can even handle, you start thinking to yourself, you know what? I could also use some new brakes, maybe a shock. Well, this baby, it deserves a new air filter. So you head straight back to eBay. You can find any part you need there. It's unreal, from headlights to air filters to exhaust systems, all the way to those carbon fiber rims you've had in your mind. eBay is the stocked garage of your dreams, and you've got eBay guaranteed fit. Because eBay knows DIY fixes can be major and mods are always intense, so you need to know those parts are guaranteed to fit every time before you dive in wrench first. And on the off chance you order a part and it doesn't fit, send it back. Simple as that. You know what you love more than your bike itself, and that is, of course, riding it. You're serious when it comes to engine maintenance and locked in when you're headed into a build. And that's exactly why you start with eBay, minor fix or complete overhaul. You want to get your ride back on the road, and you've got eBay guaranteed fit. So eBay created My Garage, where all you have to do is add your ride's info to get the exact parts that fit. When you see that green check, you're a click away from that part clicking perfectly into place. Well, now that you know all of this, just imagine standing at that open garage door, looking at the bike you love more than anything, knowing that anything is possible, whether it's keeping it on the road forever or turning it into something that humanity has never witnessed. Because with eBay, your garage just got a whole lot bigger. Get all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. In over 50 years of connecting riders to dirt, Fox Racing has learned that the best gear always has a discernible purpose and a strong point of view. The Ranger Defend and Recon Adventure Collection takes a minimalist approach to product design, with a clear mission of providing everything you need in adventure-ready gear and absolutely nothing you don't need. Minimalist chassis, fully seam sealed with Gore-Tex waterproofing and D3O CE level protection across the board. This gear is every bit as pure as the adventure you're chasing. Now back to my conversation with Caius Tenche. The Lowdown Show is presented by adbrider.com and supported by ebaymotors.com. So take me through the business of running a festival like this. I see that you're I don't know if it's just this year, you can tell me, but you're branching out and you are taking it across the country to various locations.
We started that about just about 3 or 4 years ago, by going to Vancouver and Calgary, and those have been great. And this year we're going to Winnipeg for the first time. So never been there, so I'm excited for that. And we've tried other locations, like we've tried Montreal. We've had some events in Tucson, a couple of small screenings, one in Germany, just little tests. But yeah, the ones across Canada have been great. Victoria too. Forgot to mention that. That was our first. Last year was our first time in Victoria, which was amazing.
So if anyone's listening from Upper Washington State, Seattle, it's just a hop over. So
yeah,
get on your bike and go.
yeah, so much fun. Honestly, I love sharing these stories with the people, and I love meeting the riders out there and connecting with them and getting feedback from them afterwards. Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to go back. Really, so much fun.
So what's your hope as you? I mean, you're just about to next year. You'll have your 10th anniversary. Is
Mhm.
this something that you want to continue with? Do you want to expand, take over the world or other planets? I mean, what are your goals?
That's a tough one. So one thing that I've learned in this process is that it's a passion project. Like you have to love this and be passionate about it. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. Like financially, it doesn't make sense. Like most film festivals, they don't they don't financially make sense.
Right.
Um, I don't, at the beginning, I had big goals. At this point, I'm just taking it year by year. And as long as the joy is still there and that there's a demand that's to be met, something to be filled, then I will continue it. Um, I don't really have big goals at this point. Sure, it'd be great to go to other cities, meet more people. That'd be amazing. Like there's some cities where I would love to go and take the film festival to, but we'll see.
Take me through a festival. How many days? How many screens? How many films? How does it work out that way?
So the main festival, it takes place here in Toronto, and it's about 3 days. So there's 2 days of screenings and one day beforehand, usually like a pre-party or a kickoff party. So let's say looking back at last year, we had a kickoff party on a Thursday night, and that the kickoff parties could be anything from like food and drinks. Maybe some of the filmmakers are there. One time we had a band. Another time, a couple of times we had um, custom bikes that were brought in together with contemporary art on a motorcycle theme. So we did like a gallery exhibit. So we have like a big sort of kickoff. Then we have 2 days of film screenings, so a Friday and a Saturday. Usually there's like a 6:30 show and 9 o'clock show. So we have 4 screenings then, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. We've tried different formats as well, like to add um, a group Q&A, like a panel discussion. We definitely have like Q&As that happen, after each of the film screenings, if we have the filmmakers there. Um, and then after that film festival is done in Toronto, out of all the films that were screened, we have a judging panel that picks like the top, let's say the best Canadian film or the best feature film, best short documentary. Um, and then those receive awards. And then we take the film festival on tour. So we replicate that, but on a much smaller scale in some of the other cities. So in Calgary, for example, we will take usually like the award-winning films, maybe some of the other ones that the audience really loved, and then we'll have just a single night screening of those films, a 6:30 and a 9 o'clock as an example in that event. And sometimes we incorporate like a party with that afterwards, either that same night, or the next day.
And so, at your main festival in Toronto, how many films will you show in a season in a festival?
It ranges in the 20 to 25 films range. And that is a mix of short films and feature films. So imagine if you go to the 6:30 showing. Well, we've got 2 hours there. And in that 2 hours, we try to fit in a feature film and a number of shorts. So you could get like a variety of different films. And then we also usually have filmmakers that come in and we'll bring them up on stage. We'll talk to them about the film that we just showed. The audience gets to ask questions as well. That's how it usually works.
So you started off as a middle-aged motorcyclist, and then you jumped right into running a festival because you were so enthusiastic. How has this changed you as a motorcyclist? You've seen a ton of films. You've met a lot of people right out of the gate as a new enthusiast, shall we say. How has it changed how you approach motorcycling? Do you see a film and have you seen a film and thought, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go racing or go traveling in Mozambique or something. Has it affected you in that way directly?
I mean, there's certainly a lot of inspiring content there, especially those, big trip type films. I would love to do something like that. I don't have the time right now to invest into a trip of that nature, but boy, that would be exciting. Um, Seeing off-road films or adventure films, taking bikes on different type of terrain, that's certainly appealing as well. I haven't done, anything to like take that step yet, but yeah, it's definitely inspiring to see those kind of stories and wish I could be doing some of that. Racing, not so much. That scares me. I used to do like amateur car racing back in the day, and that I feel very comfortable with it and is not scary to me. But motorcycle racing, yeah, that's scary.
Well, that's the whole point. If you're not scaring yourself.
Yeah, but there's a different level of scared, being totally exposed on a bike as you're going through, turn 4 at most sport, right?
Yeah, that'll do it.
The blind left versus being in a
Yeah,
car.
that'll do it. That downhill left. We're talking about a track which has been renamed Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
That's right.
But it is Mosport, has been traditionally called Mosport before it was rebranded by the the new owners of the facility. But it's a blind downhill, which is very fast, and then you come to a hairpin at the end of it. So
it's pucker inducing.
It's you whatever you view as a god, you tend to see it right at the breaking marker.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to as we mentioned, the 9th anniversary. Can you give us the dates and where it's going to be held and how we can get more information?
Yeah. So more information is by going to motorcyclefilmfest.com or just Google Motorcycle Film Festival. And the dates are again, we're going to start in October. So it's October 3rd and 4th. Those are going to be the screening dates. I don't have a date yet for the party, but most likely it'll be the day before, so October 2nd. And then 2 weeks later, October 16th, we'll be in Calgary. And then November 7th, if I remember correctly, we're in Vancouver. And then November 14th in Victoria. Sorry, not Victoria, in Winnipeg. And then in the spring of April 2026, we'll be in Victoria to kick off riding season. All the dates are on our website, so if you go to there, you'll find it. As all those films that we just talked about, you'll find those on our website as well.
Yeah, I should also stress, I spent some time on your website over the weekend, and I got to say it's really nice because, when you go to YouTube, there's just so much shit to sort through. But it's really nice on your website because it's just everything you want to see is right there. And it's easy to access the films. And it's also, one thing that I think film festivals do is that I'm sure you get a lot of films that are pretty wretched. And of course you don't show those ones, but it's essentially a filter that you filter out all of the chaff and then you get the wheat, which you can find on your website.
Thank you. I appreciate that comment. Like we take a lot of, we every year we get about 60 films. So out of those 60, it's that 20 to 25 that we show, as I mentioned. There's some crud and there's some really good stuff. And we take a lot of pains to make sure that we curate the best films from around the world. And we take lots of factors into consideration, the obvious like cinematography and audio and editing. Of course, all of those things have to be great, but at the heart of it, it's got to have an amazing story. I'm saying that sometimes visuals are just jaw-dropping, and so that it makes it worthwhile. But in general, most of the films just have wonderful stories, great people, and a lot of fun to watch.
I want to watch this one about the guy who gets stuck at sea on a motorcycle. That is just such a batshit crazy story. I've got to see that. In closing words from eBay Motors, picture this: you're halfway through a DIY motorcycle fix, tools scattered everywhere, and boom, you realize you're missing a part. Well, it's okay, because you know, whatever it is, it's on eBay. They've got everything: brake rotors, lights, and tire exhaust systems, whatever you need. And it's guaranteed to fit, which means no more crossing your fingers and hoping you ordered the right thing. All the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. eBay, things people love. Thank you for listening to The Lowdown Show.